Hello everyone, and welcome back to AWOL Learning. Today we're going to be discussing part 2 of our Eclipse Mars walkthrough. It's going to be a feature video discussing things like refactoring, debugging, autocompletion, exporting jars, and more. Now, if those don't sound familiar or you're just new to this, fret not, we'll be accessing and doing quick previews in this video, and when we run into them in later series, that's when we'll get more into it. So if we open up Eclipse, the first thing you're probably going to want to do is create a new project or import one. So to simply create a new project, you go File, New, Java Project, whatever the name is, and where you want to save it. Now if you use the default location, it's going to be your workspace and the project name. Now I'm going to do workspace for this one, so we can hit Finish, and boom, there you go. Now it's empty, right, because we didn't add anything to it yet. So for the sake of this video, let's import something really that has something. Now, File, Import allows you to do a couple things. Import something that has an Eclipse project on your drive already, or import it from Git. Now, if you don't know how to use Git, or what Git is, or anything like that, we have a Git basic series, link in the description or annotation currently on the screen, on how to do that. Now, Git is probably the easier thing, so we'll just do this, and it's really nice because it's version control, so let's do that. You can clone the URI, but I always just do local repository. So again, if you don't know how to do this, or how to get it onto your computer, just go to the Git basic series, and you can always just add stuff. So I add the folder that contains all the repos that I download from GitHub, and you can just basically choose something like that. But we're going to be using Precursor for this video, and it already has an Eclipse project in it, so we're just import using our existing Eclipse projects. And if it doesn't, you can just use the new project wizard. But ours does, so let's use import it. And next is fine. Now, the next thing you're probably going to want to do is run something, if you have some kind of code already existing. So you need something with a main method, or the like. And so we have this thing called Precursor console. Now if you don't know what Precursor is, it's a program we're making in a later series, not out yet, on taking a file from our YouTube series repo, which describes what a YouTube video has, and it'll upload the video with all the important information like the description with it. So this is a console version that we're building right now. And to simply run it, you just right-click, Run as Java Application. Or you can go to Precursor, find the file in the Package Explorer, Run as Java Application. And if you've already run it once, you'll notice it's here, so you can just run it this way as well. So now that we've run a simple console application, we probably want to edit stuff. Well, you know what? Autocompletion really helps you out there because it saves you all those keystrokes. So let's say we go into a different file, something that doesn't have any contents yet, and let's say we need a package. So let's say for this simple one, we need something from an external library. Well, we don't know what it might be called. So, oh look, here's something from ours. Now, let's see. We could always just scroll through, but that might sound a little bit boring. So, but if we know where it's from, look, autocomplete. It's auto-completing stuff for us. So you can import things like packages. You can create things if it doesn't exist yet, such as a constructor. Now, if you want this little window here, control space on Windows, and it's also control space on Mac, I believe. Interesting. So, this is a constructor. If you don't know how or what any of this means, you can watch our Java Basics series, link in the description, and or annotation currently on the screen. Now, so that just created a constructor for us, but what if we need a method? Okay, well let's see. We can create one right now. And Oh man, I really forgot the name. Okay, we'll just type in part of it. Autocomplete. Enter. Oh look, it calls it for us. Cool. Well, what about variables? Magic. Oh, fantastic. So that's how autocomplete works. So now that we're coding in style, we might want to do something called refactoring. So we can go in to, let's say, our parser, and let's say we just really don't like the name of a method. Let's find something we don't like. Okay. Oh, here we go. So let's say, oh no, we want this to be called parse video description footer. Ah, but let's say it's referenced somewhere else. Well, all we have to do is refactor it. So we can go here and rename, but it's also Alt-Shift-R is what it says. So let's just Alt-Shift-R. Oh look, parse video description footer. Oh look, okay, just renamed it. And they'll rename it any other thing. And you can also undo it, which is an important part. Now, a good example of this is you can see if we go into the console that we take in a video signature parser. And let's see. Oh, right here, new simple TML parser. Well, we can also go here, find the file, and just go to refactor, rename. Let's say we want to call it simple TML par. Terrible naming convention, but we can do it. And look, it renamed it in the file, in the class name, and in everywhere else it's referenced. But that's a terrible name, so let's undo that. Let's see, undoing, rename compilation unit affects elements outside of Precursor console. Yes. Cool, look, undos work as well. That's very nifty. So now that we have auto-completion and refactoring done, you might be thinking, hey, is there any more shortcuts I can do? Yes, I'm glad you thought of that. So here, let's say we want to create a new exception. Well, look, oh no, that's just so many things. What about what it extends? Just so many things. So we can create a new class, and we'll just call it exception wowzers. And let's say it needs to extend precursor exception. So, oh look, we can autocomplete here too. Wow, we're just full of magic today, aren't we? Alright, so now we have the original base class, parent class, and the new child one. So we can do generate constructor using from superclass, or we can do it in style. So let's just Alt-Shift-S and C. Oof. Yes, we are really pro users now. So we have all the things we want. We just hit OK, and it auto-generates it for us. Fantastic. You can save, and wowzers, you're all set. So now that we have all that done, we might be thinking, well, what else can we do? Well, we have building, we have running, all that stuff. Ah, but what if there's a problem in our program? Fantastic, that's called debugging. We can debug it. So a good point is, let's say we're here, and if we, and this is an actual error I ran into, so let's say we're using the JTML library. It's on GitHub if you want to find it. And it actually imports the TML files with the arrays as lists. Now, I assumed without reading any documentation that it was an array. So I had code something like this. And we can just do this. And it comes in as an object, so I had to cast it. And I was like, okay, that should work, because key points is a list. So if we just do some quick edits right now, well, first of all, this is a console application. So let's actually jump forward to something else for a second. This is a console application, so it takes in arguments from the console. Now, you might just notice we're just running stuff. We don't have the ability to specify arguments. So what you can do though is you can specify arguments. You just have to go in the run configurations. So you'll notice right now I'm specifying the H. So if I don't specify that, I get a little error and it says video signature file must be specified. So we can actually go here, find our YouTube series, channel, properties. There we go. So if we go back to run configurations, it's looking for something like this. Cool. Beautiful. Now you're going to notice it might be a little bit hard to read in this instance, but it says class cast exception. So you're like, wow, well, you know what, I could do some print statements if it was something else, like a null pointer, or I'm just getting lost somewhere. I could print and try and find out where it's not running. But I know right here, if I click on this little link, that it's this line, and it's class cast exception. That's, wow, that doesn't happen often. So you might be thinking, well, what? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's trying to cast from. So we can find the line, add a breakpoint, something called a breakpoint, and do debugging. So if we debug, it's going to ask if you want to launch the debug perspective. Yes. And it looks something like this. Well, that's kind of busy, but it's actually very useful. So this is our trace. This has all our variables, outline, console, all our code. Okay, very nice. So if we just kind of go in here, we can hover over things, and it'll give us what's inside it. Okay, very interesting. So we could do this, or we could do it from here. So we might as well just do it from here. So this is what it looks like if you were to print it. Now that's how lists print. So it shows it like an array, so it's looked a little bit confusing, assumed it was array. It's not though, but let's find out what it really is. So we can go into the set points. Okay, we found the key. Oh look, value array list. Oh, it's already coming in as a list. Okay, well, let's just stop this, go back to our Java one, and we can just undo it to what it was, cast it to a list, because it's already coming in as an array list. And we run it, and lo and behold, we don't get the class cast exception anymore. So that's how you debug. Now, that was a different style. You don't usually run into those kind of errors that often. So we'll see other exceptions and other things we'll run into in different series. But that was just a quick sample. So now that we got all the bugs out, we might want to export it so we can use it. Okay, exporting jars, that's a little bit different. So you can just go to the Package Explorer, right-click, export, Java, runnable jar file, because this is runnable. Launch configuration, we've already run it, so let's just click on this one. Find out where we want to save it to. Okay, yeah, downloads folder's fine with me. We did include a library with it, JTML, so we'll just package that with it so people don't need to find it, and finish. Oh look, details, some warnings. Okay, just warnings. So we can go here, and let's see. Let's find here. Alright, so here is our console to our downloads folder. Now if you want to run a jar, we can just do Java jar. We called it Precursor. Look, alright, that's the same kind of output as before, right? So now you can see that we ran our jar that we just exported. Beautiful. Oops. And you can see it right there, precursor.jar. So that's how you export jars, and that's very useful, because otherwise you have to go through command prompt and a bunch of cool little commands and flags and stuff, and that's not as fun as just generating it through Eclipse. Now what else is there left? Well, now let's say you have this little print statement that's coming up and you just don't want that anymore. Well, this looks very dynamic, but this looks like that it might be just statically in there. So we can do Control-H and Java search or file search, depending on what we're doing. Now, we're not looking for type, package, field, method, constructor. We're just looking for a line. So let's just go to the file search. So we know that we're printing, and this is probably what it looks like. That's the most of what we remember. So we can just hit search, and oh look, alright, oh look, it might be in Precursor console, and we can just comment that out, And oh yes, it's definitely not there anymore. And that's one way to find things that you've totally forgotten about. So that's one way to search. Now, we already did specifying console arguments. So what else can you do in Eclipse? Well, let's just see. Something you might want to do is generate Java docs. Now, if you don't know what a Java doc is, it's basically this. So they can appear anywhere, really. They can appear in front of your constructor, they can appear in front of a method, they can appear anywhere. Now, they're there to document, obviously. So, but what's kind of cool about them is that they generate these websites. Now, you can actually add HTML to them, HTML tags. So ours look like this, and this one is in front of our class, so it's describing our class. So right here we just did, oh yeah, it's a console front end. If you want to see the usage, just go to, -h, or we can print it all out right here, just so you don't have to go into the console and write it. Cool, usability. Oh wait, we can go to our parser, and oh look, you can provide links. Oh, what's that look like? Okay, well let's find out. So all you have to do is create it, and go to project, generate Java doc, linked to the javadoc.exe. It's just in find your Java folder, go to your bin, Java doc. Click here. You can do public, private, you can generate all the docs you want. Public would be as like an API, you can hand it off to someone. Private might be so you can see all the contents of the class, but we'll just do public for now. Choose where you want it. Next. Now this is a lot of stuff we don't really care about. Let's just hit finish. And sure. So let's see. Oh look, okay, we don't see any errors. So let's just go into our folder. Oh look, it generated this folder. Okay. Ooh, okay, interesting stuff. And oh, it looks something like this. Okay, well let's see how we navigate this. Well, we have all the classes here. Interesting. We can navigate. Oh, that changes those. Okay, let's just go back to all. Or we can navigate this way. So let's do that. And look, here's the description we set up. Or if we go to the console, here's the description. And here's some of the methods, but if we go to the parser, this might give a better idea of the methods. So here's the ones it's going to generate. That's the return type. You don't need to do that. It'll generate that for you. But here, look. Oh, look, it links to other parts of Java docs by using the @link. Or we can even use a tags from HTML to link to other things. Now that we have Java docs out of the way, what else might we want to do? Well, there's some other cool things. There's actually a lot of more cool things, but let's just look at one or two. So we can do to-do tags, which is just implement. And you can get to this a couple ways. So let's do view and not Java doc. Well, where might it be? Task list? Task. Let's go to both. Oh, no, that does not look like that. Okay. Trial error, tasks. Oh, look, here we go. So we might just want to put it here. And, oh, look, there it is. So now you can see all the to-dos that you have to do. And it's just a good way to keep track of things. Now you can set up other tags, but we'll look into that later. So what else? Oh, look, all right, so outline. This is very useful to give a perspective if it's a really long class. So let's go into our parser. But let's say we don't need static. Well, we can hide static. There's none here. We can also hide non-public. Okay. So it's kind of a way to sift through things. I don't want to see the fields. I don't want to see anything non-public. All right, this is what I have to work with if I have an instance. Fantastic. So, well, we want to be a really pro user. So what's left? Well, obviously shortcuts. Now, I've talked about a couple. Alt-Shift-S, C for constructor, or maybe Alt-Shift-S, R for getter setter. Alt-Shift-S, O, that's another constructor thing. Control-D deletes the line. What else is there? Okay, well, we can do something very cool. We can go Google it. So let's just do that. Shortcuts. Now I'm going to provide the link in the description on how to get there. But let's just see. We're going to go to this one. Alright. Oh look, Control D, delete row, try it. Okay, cool. Alt up. Control 1. F3 takes you. Oh look, F3 takes you there. Okay. Oh, too many things to read. Okay. But we'll leave that link in the description if you want to navigate that on your own. So that's basically it for this video. If you want more in-depth features, we'll be approaching them as we go throughout our various series. So, as always, we hope you enjoy your stay.